Heyo folks, welcome back to the All-in-One Nerd channel. I am your host, Lucas. Today's video is going to be a new Comics Corner. And today's comic book that we are going to talk about is one of my favorite series. It is still ongoing. It is the Criminal series written by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And we are going to talk about the first story arc, Coward. But before we dive into that, if you could please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. It helps out the channel a whole bunch. So as stated previously, this is written by Ed Brubaker. The artwork is done by Sean Phillips, and the colors are done by Vale Staples. This is published by imagecomics, and like I said, one of my favorite comics ever. This story follows Leo. He is a thief and a con artist. And the story really picks up and starts out with a heist. And within the first couple pages, we learn the heist is not going planned. And Leo is the only one that survives and escapes, it seems like. So we jump forward for 5 years to present day. And we follow Leo as he is now a little bit more reserved. He really only works for himself. He's still kind of being a thief and a con artist. But he does not have a gang that he rolls with per se, right? So it comes as a bit of a shock and a surprise once two people approach him to get involved in this diamond heist where they are planning on stealing a bunch of diamonds from a police evidence van as it is making its way to the courts. And after a little reluctance and some other characters kind of talking Leo into it, he does agree. But little does he know that he is kind of being set up. And that's as far as I'll go with spoilers for this review. Let's break down some of the characters. So our main character is Leo, obviously. Like I said, he's a con man artist. And something about him that is very important to himself and very important to the characters, he has these set of rules that he is he's not flexible with them, right? There are rules to survive in this criminal underworld, if you will. And he's a very strong character. I really enjoyed him as the main protagonist. Next, we have Greta. She is the ex-wife, the widow, I guess, of the person that died during that heist 5 years ago. And she kind of comes back into Leo's life. You know, we also learn a little bit about her, how she's an ex-junkie and has a daughter as well. Next, we have Ivan. He is one of Leo's, almost mentors, I guess you could say as well. And he's a junkie, right? He's an old man. He has Alzheimer's. He's a very interesting character, right? And his medicine is like heroin or meth or whatever it is to get by in his old age. And Leo is very much his caretaker. He tries to hire nurses for him, but Ivan is a stubborn old man and kind of a perv as well. But he is an interesting character and especially an interesting insight to the older generation of criminals in this world that's being set up here. Now, there's three more characters I want to quickly mention before we dive into the good and the bad of this story. We have Seymour. He's one of the guys that approached Leo about this diamond heist job. And it seems like he is... he doesn't really play necessarily a active role, I will say, in the heist itself. He's definitely one of the orchestrators, I guess you could say, of this heist. And he's also from Leo's former life, right? He knows Leo when Leo was at the top of his game, being a thief and a criminal and whatnot. There's two main antagonists that I want to quickly mention. We have Royale. He is kind of the gang leader, the kingpin, if you will. And then we also have this super disturbing character, Delrum. And yeah, he is messed up, to say the least. So those are all the characters, not all the characters, but a vast majority of the characters. I think the ones that are kind of the main characters, if you will. So the good, what I really enjoyed about this book. Now, first, let me just kind of mention some smaller things I noticed. There are a couple pop culture references, and what I mean by that is there's a panel that is it's literally a shot from Spider-Man 2, and it has Joey Diaz in it. So I don't really know why that's in here. I guess it's kind of a wink and a nod. I thought it was interesting, something that I noticed. And then also the character of Roy-El is very much inspired by Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction. His whole design, it looks exactly like him. Just two things that I noticed and I thought were interesting. So kind of the meatier stuff of this book of what I really enjoyed. First off, the art. The art is just so gorgeous. I really love Sean Phillips. It's simple yet so effective for this type of story. It's not in your face, but it's very subtle, I guess. But I absolutely love it. The colors by Vale Staples as well are so incredible here in this story. It's so good at setting the mood and the tension of a scene. So I really appreciate that. Now, the antagonist here of Delrum, he's not the main antagonist. Like, he's not the Kingman. He's definitely more of a henchman for Roy-El. But man, is he disturbing. I like his design, his presence when you're reading. It makes you sick almost, it makes you cringe. He's very well written to be just this villain that you absolutely despise. Now, the overall story of this book, I will say, is just so good. You get sucked right into it. And, I was planning on only reading maybe for 10 minutes or so. Next thing I know, it's like an hour later and I'm almost done with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd the time go? Literally. This story, like I said, it just really sucks you in. You get it. You just need to know what happens next. I will say too, if you're a fan of like the Grand Theft Auto video game series, I would definitely encourage you to read this. It reads very similar. It's the same world, I guess, of this criminal underground that you follow. You follow these different characters and whatnot. It reads very similar to like the Grand Theft Auto series. So I would encourage you to check this one out if you are a fan of GTA. The world building in this story, I will say, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? I think at times it's great, but at times it leaves you wanting more from this world, right? So it's good in that aspect, but it is, like I said, kind of a double-edged sword where it feels like you're missing some context and you're not getting the full story at times. You do get the full story of Leo, I will say, you do get closure, but at times it's some things that are mentioned that you kind of realize are important. You just don't know the full story there until you read the rest of the criminal series. And this kind of leads me into the not so good, the things I did not enjoy, and that's definitely one of them at times. It works in some places, not so much in others. As I mentioned before as well, Leo has these set of rules that is made. It's made clear he has them, but it's never made clear what they are. We don't really ever get a full list, I guess, of these rules that he has, which I didn't really enjoy. I wish we kind of got more of that. Like at times you kind of forget that he even has these set of rules of it, and that's why he does what he does at certain points. So I do wish it was a little bit clearer. And when I say list, we don't need like an actual list of like, hey, these are his rules, right? I don't think it's that type of story. It probably just wouldn't make sense. But I feel like it should have made a little bit. They should have made it clearer to the reader what these set of rules are. Now, the last thing that I was a little like about is there was kind of a big exposition dump towards the end of this character that was not in the story before and is seemingly in here just to tell the reader and tell the main character like what just happened and why things are happening. And she's there to kind of help Leo put the puzzle together, but it does kind of come off as just kind of an exposition dump of like, oh, here's the whole explanation for the reader. And that's that. So I didn't love that. I wish there was a little bit more of Leo trying to like figure it out other than just going to this character. I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Now, overall, like I said, I absolutely love this series and I really like this story arc. In this series, I do recommend it. I think it's a good place to jump on. Like I said, it is an anthology, so you don't need to read this one first. But I think you might as well start here, right? Why start kind of out of order? So, like I said, also, if you're a fan of crime noir, crime movies, TV shows, something like The Wire, or if you like the GTA series, definitely give this one a read. I think it will be something up your alley. And that is going to do it for today's Comics Corner. If you have not already done so, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. I would love to know what your thoughts are of the Criminal series in the comment section down below. They are making a adaptation. I believe it's an Amazon TV show. I think it's coming out this year as well. So I am very much looking forward to that. And I will talk about that on the channel. Absolutely. But until next time, guys, take care.